Tonight, the Civic Federation will host the second Candidate Night Forum. In tonight's forum, we will be hearing from candidates for Treasurer, Commissioner of the Revenue, Sheriff, Commonwealth's Attorney, School Board, and County Board. Before I turn the program over to our moderator, Terry Perrell, to introduce our candidates, I want to cover a few of the ground rules to which the candidates who are participating tonight have agreed. Audience questions will be from Civic Federation delegates and alternate delegates only. As there is only one contested race tonight, only questions submitted for the county board race will be selected. The forum moderator will draw a delegate or alternate delegate's name and then call on him or her to ask their question. Questions may be directed to one or more candidates. Questions may be up to 30 seconds in length, but may not be position statements. Follow-up questions are not allowed. The Civic Federation's rules will be observed at all times, and as this is a nonpartisan event, no applause, cheering, jeering, or other verbal reply will be allowed by an audience member in response to candidate statements. Applause for all participants will be held to the end of this candidate forum. We ask that all cell phones be turned off for the duration of the candidate forum, and we hope the entire night. And I want to thank all the candidates here for participating and everybody for attending tonight. And I'd like to turn the program over to Terry Perrell.
She will do this when she turns off first.
Good evening. It's nice to have all the rules clearly explained before we start this evening, since I wasn't as clear last time. The first candidate tonight will be for Arlington County Treasurer, and it's Frank O'Leary. And you want to try those steps? Feel free.
Good evening. I am Frank O'Leary, Arlington County Treasurer, and I'm pleased to note this is my 8th appearance before you as a candidate. And I don't know who the historian is, but I hope you go check your records, because I think I'm the record holder. Now, when I first appeared before you, in the dim distant past, 1983, Arlington's reported tax delinquency rate was over 9%. I'm happy to report that the current rate is 1/2 of 1%. And this has meant a savings of about $128 million to the citizens of, well, I should say the taxpayers of Arlington County, not just the citizens. Speaking of taxpayers, well, we get about $1 billion a year in the Treasurer's office. It comes in through about 740,000 transactions. And I might note that today is one of our busier days. Does anyone here not know that tomorrow is the tax deadline? Well, yesterday we had about 1,600 folks show up at the second floor of the Courthouse Plaza. Today we had about 1,800, and tomorrow Ingrid and I expect, maybe 2,500, 2,600. And let me say that these are mainly immigrants who come to pay if they don't have bank accounts. And anyone who says that Arlington's immigrants do not pay their taxes is dead wrong. I just wish they'd find a better way, but eventually they do. So,
can you put the microphone closer?
Oh, I'm sorry. Have you not heard anything? Hi, I'm Frank O'Leary. Okay. Did you catch the last part?
Yes.
That we're very, very busy, and that a large part of it is driven by the fact that we have a large immigrant population. They don't have bank accounts, but they want to pay their taxes, and I think it's very important to establish that they do. And they do so in great numbers, as anyone who cared to can witness tomorrow on the second floor at Courthouse Plaza. Speaking of immigrants, where's Ingrid? Don't make us down. Oh, there she is. Speaking of immigrants, I'd like to conclude my presentation with 2 points. Number one, this is the report to the citizens, and it's out there on the table where you come in, and it's a joint report of the Treasurer and Commissioner of Revenue. It's one I started back in 1984 because so many people told me that they could not understand the complicated financial reports that the county produced. So I came out with this report, and the motto is, the accounts of the government ought to be made as simple as those of the common farmer and capable of being understood by common farmers. In the first year, a fellow walked up to me and said, "O'Leary, this says it all about you. You have produced a report for the one population group that does not exist in Arlington County." Well, okay, and speaking of immigrants, I'd like to note that our Commissioner of Revenue, Ingrid Maroy, and her sister Judith would like to give you a musical tribute by singing one of their favorite songs. It's one that they composed especially to deal with the question of taxes, revenue, and collection, and public service, actually, huh? Okay, where should I put this? Back, okay. Thank you very much, and please don't forget to vote November 8th, and remember you can come in and vote absentee on the 3rd floor of the courthouse. Okay, thanks much.
Good evening, I'm Ingrid Maroy. I'm running for re-election for Commissioner of Revenue. This is my sister Judith, and she's not. Fair assessments and strong customer service are the hallmark of my office and shouldn't make you nervous. Look at the things that I have done for you. That is why your votes matter even more. Please do remember when you vote this November how you got first-class treatment from my staff members. So don't forget when you go to the polls, 'cause I know your votes matter even more. There is one thing that has me crying, return tax relief, because I won't stop trying. Discussions with the board, waiting patiently for their accord. Next 4 years I will surely recommit. You can ask me if your contractor's really legit. I'll find out through the state and the county police. Hence your votes matter even more. There is a need for me to be supplying online reports of assessments we're applying. The public's right to know. My office is transparency to go. Small business service to create a one-stop shop. Registration of state taxes all in one fell swoop. It will save taxpayers time and increase efficiency. So your votes matter even more. Yes, your votes matter even more. Your votes matter even more. Thank you, and thank you for your support.
And to make things clear, Ingrid, would you give us the way so we'll know which of the two sisters you are? It's me you're voting for. And the next to the podium will be our sheriff, Beth Arthur.
And you do not want to hear me sing, trust me. Boring speech will be far better. Good evening. I would like to thank the Civic Federation for once again hosting us to be here tonight to share with you some of the things that have been going on in our offices. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve as your sheriff for the last 11 years and to be in the sheriff's office and work there for 26 years. As sheriff, I am elected to serve as the executive manager of the office and to fulfill the constitutional duties of my office, which include the safe and secure operations of the courts, the courthouse, the detention facility, to serve both to accurately and timely serve both criminal and civil warrants, and to do prisoner transportation. In partnership with the men and women of the sheriff's office that serve there, I take great pride in the accomplishments of the last 11 years, and I just want to share a few of the things, mostly highlighting what's been going on for the last 4 years. First and foremost, we operate a very safe and secure detention facility, even in these very tough, tight budget times. We are, I think, very actively involved in the management of emergency preparedness in Arlington County to ensure that we are prepared for an emergency and that you have outstanding public safety services in the community. The Sheriff's Office has enhanced our security threat group, and we work very extensively with local, state, and federal law enforcement partners to ensure that you do live in a safe community, and in particular, we work very heavily with the police department, Commonwealth Attorney's Office on gang and terrorist issues, mostly gang issues. We continue to work on rehabilitating inmates. This past 4 years, we graduated over 124 inmates with their general equivalency diploma through and working with adult education. We last year celebrated our 20th anniversary of our Addictions, Corrections, and Treatment Unit, which is an intensified substance abuse program we run with the Department of Human Services. We partner with Aramark, our food service vendor, to ensure that our inmate workforce are able to develop post-release employment job skills, and we are getting them a nationally recognized certification called ServSafe, which is a great employability skill for them to have. In addition to that, we were awarded the Energy Star by the U.S. Department of the Environmental Protective Agency for both the jail and the courthouse. In our efforts to continue greening the jail, we started composting about a year ago this month, and last month alone we composted 14 tons of food in the jail, which is really amazing. We also have implemented an eyeglass recycling program with our local Lions Club here in Arlington, which is a great program to be doing. In addition to that, the Sheriff's Office staff over the last 4 years have collected and donated over 20 tons of food to AFAC, to Arlington's Assistance Food Bank, which I think is another good thing for us to be doing for our community. So these are just a few of the accomplishments that we've had over the last few years. But first and foremost, what's important for me over the next 4 years is to continue to ensure the safety and security of the jail, to provide the services that we've been providing, to ensure the safety of the courthouse, as well as prisoner transportation and service of process. There are many challenges ahead, and there are many opportunities. But the challenges that I'm concerned about the most are what's been going on with our budget. We have seen a lot of reductions in our budget, and in particular, one of the biggest concerns I have is the reductions that are happening in Richmond. The Sheriff's Office, as most of you know, are funded by the State Compensation Board, and the county has graciously for many years subsidized our office, but the House of Delegates has year after year put forward substantial cuts to our budget, and so I will continue working in Richmond to try to stave off those cuts, and thankfully our friends on the Senate side have been a little nicer to us, but that is really the challenge that I feel that I have as the sheriff of the next 4 years. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and talk to you tonight, and I thank you again and hope that you'll vote for me again on November the 8th. Thank you.
Candidate is Theo Stamos for the Arlington Falls Church Commonwealth Attorney position.
Good evening. Thank you very much, and thanks for this opportunity to allow me to speak to such an important group. I'm honored to be the Democratic nominee for Commonwealth's Attorney in this November's election. June 1st of this year, I began my 25th year as a prosecutor in Arlington County in the City of Falls Church. I started out in 1987 after being hired by Helen Fahey, and I started in traffic court. I was promoted in 1998 to Deputy Commonwealth's Attorney, and in 2002 to Chief Deputy Commonwealth's Attorney. I have prosecuted and supervised the prosecution of thousands of cases, everything from red light violations to capital murder. For a quarter of a century, I've been on the front lines of the criminal justice system. And I've had an opportunity to work with a tremendous group of dedicated public servants who every day give voice to ordinary people, the victims and witnesses of crime. When I started campaigning in January, I thought that I needed to raise the profile of our office, because not a lot of people know about the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office. But as I knocked on more than 10,000 doors through January, February, in the spring, in the summer, I came to realize that our low profile was not a weakness, but a strength. We don't announce our indictments from the courthouse steps. We don't send out press releases when we win big cases. And I assure you, we win a lot of big cases. What we do day in and day out is simply doing our jobs. And I want to continue doing that as the Commonwealth's attorney for Arlington and Falls Church. This job requires a particular type of toughness and judgment, the kind that come with experience. It's the toughness to say no, we won't drop the gun charge. No, we're not going to amend the DUI to reckless driving. And no, we're not going to agree to all suspended time. It also takes judgment to know and understand the exercise of prosecutorial discretion when the right decision may well be the decision not to prosecute at all. This is a serious job for serious-minded people. I know I have the experience, the leadership ability, and a reputation for fighting tough, but always fairly, and an understanding of the values of this community that a job like this demands. I ask for your support, and I ask for your vote. And thank you very much for the opportunity to address you tonight.
Next will be the Arlington County School Board. Abby Raphael.
Thanks, Terry. Hi, I'm Abby Raphael, and I'm running for re-election to the school board. I've delivered on the promise that I made when I first ran for office to focus on the ABCs of school success. That's achievement, budget, and community. Regarding achievement, my school board colleagues and I have increased preschool classes for at-risk students because we know that that investment in pre-K means better success for students in kindergarten and throughout elementary school. We set a goal that all of our students should be proficient in a language in addition to English by the time that they graduate. And so we have expanded our foreign language instruction. And we've just adopted our strategic plan, which will guide the school system for the next 6 years. And that plan focuses on a challenging and engaging curriculum, eliminating achievement gaps, and meeting the needs of the whole child. In terms of budget, the school board is committed to spending taxpayer funds efficiently and effectively. We've reduced central office positions, we've improved long-term planning with a 3-year budget forecast, we've saved tens of millions of dollars on major construction projects with careful planning and scheduling. We've created reserves to meet the obligations for our retirees, and we focused on accountability. Right now we are conducting a state efficiency review. We have reviews of our technology and transportation programs, and we have ongoing evaluations of how well we are delivering instruction in a wide variety of areas. In terms of community, we've created a Sustainability Citizen Advisory Committee to help us with our commitment to the environment. We work closely with county government in a whole variety of areas, but I just want to highlight 2 here tonight. Tomorrow is Walk and Bike to School Day, and so we hope folks will be participating in that. And there's also a fun ride, bike ride this weekend. And I want to recognize my colleague Walter Tejada for his leadership in this area. One thing that I'm really proud of is the Second Chance program. That is a substance abuse education and diversion program for our students. And it's a reality because the Arlington community came together and we recognize that early intervention is critical to get our students on the right path so that they can lead healthy and productive lives. And my colleague on the school board, Mary Hynes, has been a leader in this area. And Mary, I don't know if you're in the room yet, but there she is, and I want to recognize her for that. Now, we have a lot of challenges ahead, and primarily that is our increasing student enrollment. We're growing at about 5% per year. That's about 1,000 more students a year. So we've been making the most of the existing space that we have. We've increased class size, we've converted computer labs to classrooms, and we have relocatable classrooms or trailers in about half of our schools right now. But we know that we're going to need about 3,400 more seats by 2016. So there's a meeting here tomorrow night where we will be outlining our plans to address this important issue. Now, Arlington is known for its excellent schools. Business Week, you may have seen, recently named us the second best community in the country to live, and that's in large part because of our schools. All of our high schools are in the top 1% in the country in the Washington Post Challenge Index. And we are really proud of those accomplishments, but one thing I love about Arlington is we are always working to be better. As chair of the school board now, I'm working with my colleagues to continue to focus on the ABCs of school success. Achievement for all of our students, a budget that is based on evaluation of what works to promote student success, and community engagement and collaboration with our county board colleagues. I'm Abby Raphael, and I ask for your support on November 8th. Thank you very much.
Contested race. We have the county board, we have Audrey, Clement, Hynes, and Walter Tejada. So the first up will be Ms. Clement.
Good evening, citizens of Arlington County. My name is Audrey Clement. I'm running for Arlington County Board, and I seek your vote. As a longtime resident of Arlington County with a PhD in political science, I am qualified to serve. I'm also an environmental activist and proud of it. As treasurer of the Arlington Coalition for Sensible Transportation, I fought the I-66 spot improvement project. I'm the only candidate on the dais who had the guts to challenge in federal court the legality of this useless project, which will only worsen congestion on I-66 by moving bottlenecks to the next exit. Arlington needs a change in leadership because County Board is in bed with developers. As new office towers go up overnight, employers move into the county, spurring demand for housing that drives up rents and real estate assessments and promotes infill development. Over the past decade, the supply of affordable housing in this county has been cut by more than a half. My opponents, Walter Tejada and Mary Hynes, call the gentrification of Arlington County smart growth. But I ask you, what is smart about recycling moderate income tenants out of the county? What is smart about saddling taxpayers with the cost of expensive, risky, debt-ridden vanity projects like the $6.7 million Artisphere, the $130 million Columbia Pike Trolley, and the $65 million Long Bridge Park Aquatic Center? While the county's infrastructure crumbles, Walter and Mary will tell you that Arlington's growth is green and sustainable. The only thing green about it is the dollars in the developers' pockets. Nearly all indicators of environmental quality in Arlington, energy use, traffic congestion, recycling rates, tree canopy, green space, are trending down. With your vote, we can turn this situation around, preserve our neighborhoods, and sustain our community. That's the Arlington way. Vote Clement for County Board on Tuesday, November 8th. My website is www.audreyclement.org. Thank you.
Good evening. I want to thank the Civic Federation for inviting us to this traditional candidates forum. Our hometown, Arlington County, is a great community in which we enjoy a very high quality of life. And I'm honored to serve you on the Arlington County Board. We're a safe community. We have a low real estate tax rate, lowest unemployment in Virginia, great schools, and we are an award-winning model for smart growth. When elected, my mission was to continue being a good steward of our county government while making my own contributions to improving our community. My philosophy is rooted in the principles of social and economic justice, and I believe my achievements in the last 8 years reflect this commitment. I led the way for the establishment of the Office of the Public Defender, ensuring legal representation for indigent residents. I led the way for the establishment of the Community Volunteer Network, which develops leadership and civic participation among our young adults. I led the way for the establishment of the Arlington Nonprofit Assistance Program to strengthen nonprofit organizations. And since 2003, I have worked for the creation and preservation of over 2,400 committed affordable housing units. While I am proud that in each of my 8 years I have served you, Arlington has been awarded a AAA bond rating. We cannot rest on our successes. I have a vision for an even better Arlington. We must work together to maintain our fiscal health, protect our safety net, improve housing opportunities, protect our environment, and promote healthy living. I'm proud to have done my part thus far to keep Arlington a welcoming and inclusive community. But there's more work to be done. Our hometown is a very special community. We may be geographically small, but we think big. I hope to earn your support in November, and I look forward to your questions. Thank you.
Good evening. It's great to be back here, although different venue, to ask for your support as I campaign for re-election to the county board. I love Arlington, and I'm very excited to be here once again asking for the opportunity to keep working with you to find answers for the challenges that lie ahead for our community. When I was elected to the school board 17 years ago, people mentioned that the Chinese symbols for chaos and opportunity are the same. They wondered what my experience would be in elected leadership. The same comment was made 4 years ago when I ran for the county board, and it even came up in January when I joined the Metro board. Tonight I can say that my time serving our wonderful community has been filled with extraordinary opportunities to bring people together, to find enduring solutions, and to make Arlington a better place. My goal as a member of the county board has been and will remain that our government exemplify good government, one that works every day to make Arlington a wonderful place for all kinds of folks to live, work, play, raise their families, and even grow older. It's also a government that takes great care of our streets, parks, and other facilities, steps up to help those needing assistance, avoids problems when it's possible, and solves them when it can't. And it does all of these things within our means. Given 3 years of national economic uncertainty, I look at the world, the changing world around us, and I wonder what's next for Arlington. What vision, what plan will allow us to continue to be a diverse, inclusive, vibrant, caring community that we've all come to love. To support these long-held values in a very much changing world, I believe it's important that we make systematic community choices to be smarter, more sustainable, and better prepared. That means we need to expand our housing choices, extend effective transit across the county, encourage resource conservation at home and at work, ensure that we can get most of what we need close to our homes, and know that we can depend upon each other in times of trouble. I'm really looking forward to your questions. Thank you.
Four following delegates would please stand in line at the microphone. They can ask her questions. First will be Blvd, followed by Robert Atkins, Connor Marshall, and my opportunity to mispronounce someone's name, Alan Munchnick of Columbia Heights.
Good evening. My name is Blvd, and I'm here representing Clarendon Courthouse. My question is for Ms. Clement. Could you talk about something that you really like about Arlington County?
Well, aside from your Hi. Aside from the democratic-minded spirit of the community, the first thing that comes to mind are the bike trails, which I use regularly. In fact, I don't own a car. I try to practice what I preach. I bike to work every day. I take the Metro home. I am very happy with the public transit system in the Arlington vicinity, if only because it provides a great opportunity to pass out some of my campaign cards at the Metro stations. I would also like to say that I consider the heart of Arlington County to be its library system, and my chief concern is that the library budget has actually been cut, or is currently at only about 90% of its level in 2008. And if I'm elected to Arlington County Board, I will see to it that the libraries are fully funded.
Thank you. It's only 60 seconds to answer that? 2 minutes. Okay. Great. I'm not sure that's correct, but what minute? But I can talk for 2 minutes. I'm happy to do that. Thank you. You know, we are very fortunate in these days to live in Arlington County, and I think in the downturn of the economy, we can appreciate our high quality of life that we enjoy here. One of the things I really like about our hometown is the diversity that we have, which is really our strength here, and sets an example, not only in the region, but around the state and frankly nationally. I think as a community that has faced challenges, you know, we've not been immune, but we've made some difficult choices to keep us in a sustainable community. I think that the people, the civic participation that Arlington is well known for, you can define the Arlington way whatever way you want, but it really is great for our community. We have wonderful schools, we have great parks, an excellent transportation network. In fact, you can live in Arlington without owning a car. And that's just one of the many, but I think most important aspect is our community. We refer to it as a county, but it really is our hometown, and a place where all of us are proud of to live in. And when Arlington County said it talks about high quality of life and a high standard for policy issues and many other things. And unfortunately, my time is up.
Could have done that 2 minutes, right? I moved here from Minnesota 34 years ago, from a very small town in the middle of the prairie. And there's a lot of things I love about Arlington. It was a fabulous place to raise my 5 kids. We have a fabulous school system, and we stand on the shoulders of many, many people who've worked to make this school system as awesome as it is. We also stand on the shoulders of people who had the foresight to say, we're not going to send the metro down 66, we're going to bring it up our main street. And I live in Clarendon, so I really love living in Clarendon. I love the diversity of the businesses, I love that I can walk to work, I love that my neighbors know each other. And I think the last thing, I don't have a lot of time, that I would say is I love how much people in this community give to make this community a better place. The ideas, the talent, the willingness to engage, I think it's one of the things that makes us really fabulous.
Robert Atkins, the Bluemont community. We hear a lot in Arlington about the Arlington Way, supposedly involving citizens in all aspects of public policy. But there's one area where this is not happening and hasn't for a long time, the trolley. Why doesn't the county board believe that the voters deserve a vote on what's going on with the Columbia Pike trolley? Over $100 million in county expenditures. Why don't you trust the voters of Arlington? Let's start with the incumbents.
Thank you. The question is about the streetcar that is being planned in the Columbia Pike area initially, but is now, and also we're planning to a Pentagon City down the line, Crystal City, and the city of Alexandria has said that they want to get in there too and expand the network of light rail transportation. I think that there was a vote actually taken to multiple community meetings that were held, and a number of options were explored. And in fact, they came down to 4. And this is the option that the community voted for, the streetcar, after a multitude of meetings. There's probably a record number of meetings through the Columbia Pike process that have been held about not only streetcar, but other Columbia Pike revitalization aspects. As for the funding, there will be a dedicated funding source to this. I mean, we have the transportation dedicated funding for it, the Transportation Investment Fund. And from the commercial side, specifically, there will be funding, a combination of federal and state, that will be specifically for this project. It will not compete with other taxes like schools or something like that. There will be no additional tax rate or anything for anything like that. So there's a... Oh, the time's up. Okay.
Well, thanks for the question, Bob. I think I want to separate a couple of things here. A lot of the money that the county has already spent is on making Columbia Pike a much more walkable place. We're beginning to get all of those electric poles out of the sidewalks so people can walk along. We've got a much better, around our business areas, more trash cans, places for people to sit, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think that was a bad investment at all. I think that improving the walkability and visibility on Columbia Pike is a great thing. I don't want you to think that I think the streetcar is a bad investment either, because I don't. I think the streetcar is in the same category of thinking as was done 40 years ago about Metro. This is an investment that is going to deliver connectivity throughout this region when it gets done. And as Walter mentioned, it's going to start in Fairfax at Skyline. It's going to go down Columbia Pike. It's going to go to Pentagon City. It's going to connect to Crystal City and head into Alexandria. People will be able to move much more efficiently than they ever had before.
Well, the technical answer to Bob's question, why has this issue not been put to a referendum, is because, as Walter Tejada himself has just said, there is a separate funding stream for the trolley, and that's called the Commercial Real Estate Surcharge Tax. In other words, technically this cannot be put to a vote, or at least a referendum, because the developer, the business community is paying for this extravagance. That said, my principal objection to the trolley is on transportation engineering grounds. I come from the city of Philadelphia, where there were several large trolleys that were decommissioned because they were running on secondary roads that simply were not adequate in size to accommodate the traffic. The trolley that I'm thinking of in particular was the number 23 trolley. It ran down a street called 12th Street, which was like Columbia Pike, no more than 2 lanes on either side. And so my belief is that if you're going to install a trolley in a city, you have to make sure that the thoroughfare is wide enough to accommodate both the trolley and vehicular traffic. And I don't think county has made that case.
The next questioner is Alan. How will you pronounce your last name?
Alan Muchnick. Thank you. Alan Muchnick with the Columbia Heights Civic Association. For roughly the past decade, the county has conducted a series of planning studies designed to justify a predetermined decision to install a streetcar system on Columbia Pike without ever fully and fairly evaluating bus transit alternatives such as expanded express bus and skip stop service, articulated buses, and a free bus trolley that can move more people via transit at a lower cost. As a member of the county board, would you commit to a full and fair study of bus transit improvements on Columbia Pike before committing hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayer funds to create a Pike Street car? Thank you.
Thanks for the question, Alan. I actually do support bus rapid transit, but I don't think it's the long-term solution. As people have mentioned, the streetcar is an expensive proposition. The county cannot afford it all on its own. We don't know what's going to go on at the federal and the state level in terms of transportation funding. All you have to do is pick up the newspaper to know that the feds are changing all kinds of arrangements. So the trolley isn't totally affordable for us by ourselves. In the meantime, we do have the best bus service in the region on the Pike already with Pike Ride. And the ideas you mentioned, skip stops, more one-seat rides that go into the district, are all things that I have been in conversation with Metro about, because I think we have to have a 5 to 7 to 10 year plan about how we move more people. Not only on Columbia Pike, but on Lee Highway, on Route 50. So that is part of the work I'm actively engaged in. Bus rapid transit, I think, is going to be part of our future, at least in the near term.
Well, I certainly share Alan's concerns about the quality of the transportation studies that have been done so far to justify the Columbia Pike trolley, because, as I mentioned before, my own experience living in a city with a trolley on a narrow thoroughfare was that it simply didn't work. It worked perhaps 50 years ago when vehicular traffic was not as concentrated as it is today. But today, it's just too much to support on that narrow thoroughfare. So very definitely, what is needed is an environmental assessment of the trolley itself and alternatives to the trolley. I myself would simply opt for, at the present time, an upgrade of the current service, the bus service that is on the pike right now. As a matter of fact, the county's own planner, Dover Cole, described the current service as it exists today as outstanding, and I don't even agree with that. I mean, I know it's great on weekdays, but it could certainly stand some improvement on weekends, and that's all that is all that I would do for Columbia Pike at the present time. Thank you.
Thank you. We can discuss all the possible options, and as a side, of course, bus rapid transit will be a good option. And when this was being considered by the community, which is a very lengthy process, there were many options. There were actually 4 that it came down to. And when the votes who've been involved for a long time, they selected the streetcar. We've done a lot of evaluations, compare it to other places like Portland and other, this is one thing that we forget also. We're not new for this, we're not original. This is the type of transit options that's being implemented in many places around the country, in Seattle, for example. And so this is in our area where whether we want it or not, there will be people moving into the Columbia Pike area, and it's important that they have ways that they can get around without necessarily using a car. And frankly, this also will help everyone, including low-income folks, who will have additional options to move around without having to own a car. So I think the streetcar will be a success. We're taking a little bit long to make it happen. We want to push forward to get it done as soon as possible, and I think it will be a great thing for our community down the line.
Fourth questioner was Connor Marshall, who appears to no longer be here. So the last questioner will be Herschel Cantor.
Ms. Clement, you've not held public office, and I wonder what your qualifications in terms of volunteer, professional, and civic activities are for that office.
Well, thank you very much for that question, Herschel. First of all, I have a PhD in political science from Temple University in 1993, and my specialization was American voting behavior. So I think I have an inside scoop on what the voters want to hear. The second thing that I would say that qualifies me for this position is that I still am and have served as treasurer for the Arlington Coalition for Sensible Transportation, of which Herschel and Alan both are members, since I believe it was 2006. And in that capacity, I fought all the way up to and including the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, the widening of I-66. It wasn't the widening that bothered me. Obviously, there's a lot of congestion on I-66, but I wanted an environmental assessment as required by law in order to determine the best possible solution to congestion on I-66. And that's why I fought that case. I fought the case in order to uphold the National Environmental Policy Act of 1969. I got no support from county board, no support from any lawyers. I fought this case against at least a team of a half a dozen crack federal attorneys from the U.S. Justice Department, the Obama administration. I fought these guys. And to be honest with you, I learned an awful lot. I'm actually grateful for the lesson they taught me. It was a bitter lesson, but I learned an awful lot in litigating that case.
Thank you. I have the privilege to have served 8 years on the county board already, and I can say a multitude of experiences that I've enjoyed serving you as a board member. Among them, in this very building, coming and telling the state that we oppose the widening of I-66, and I really appreciated the Green Party and Audrey and others helping us also supporting our position. There's a multitude of things that I did before joining the board, and actually I continue to do as a county board member. I volunteer sometimes at AFAC and on a Saturday morning. I help push with the Shillington Employment and Education Center that continues to help some of the most vulnerable in our community in the Shillington area. I've done a multitude of civic activities before joining the board. I was the state director of the League of United American Citizens. I worked in the Affordable Housing Task Force back in 1999. It's hard to believe. I worked in the Fiscal Affairs Advisory Commission with a number of folks who are active in this civic federation. So I do have quite a lot of Arlington experience. I like working with people. I think that we become a better community when we work together, and I've enjoyed doing that, and I continue to do that on the county board, like the diversity dialogues that I led the way in 2008, so we can have a serious conversation about what does diversity mean to you, and not be shy about discussing this type of issue. It's important that we talk proactively and value truly the diversity that we have in our community. I'm not shy about discussing those issues, and also I'm very strongly support our views on immigration, and our county has a county board, and as a community we have helped very strongly set an example to others, not only in the region and in the state, but in the country as well. I'm very proud of our community.
Well, I've had the privilege to serve this community for a long time, 12 years on the school board, 4 on the county board. Before I came to those offices, though, I was a mom in a neighborhood with 5 kids. And so I did the things that moms do. I was a volunteer in schools. I worked at my church. I participated in my neighborhood, and I got to know all the great people that live in this community. All those experiences taught me how important knitting the fabric of our community is, how important making strategic decisions are, so that when we get 10 years and 20 years down the road, we've really moved the ball and we've made the community a better place. How important sustainability is for us, whether it's thinking about gardening or thinking about the school system has to work no matter who those kids are that walk through the door, because it's so critical to our survival as a vibrant community. It's also taught me about being prepared. And what it's taught me about being prepared since 9/11 is that the more we know each other, the better off we are. Whether it's a snowstorm or a hurricane or an earthquake, for heaven's sake, knowing the people who live next door to you makes an enormous difference. And all of those things, and I'm just going to tag on to what these two have said, don't forget that the county board did sue the state of Virginia and did sue the federal government over the I-95 hot lanes, the 395 hot lanes, and we did win, and we were right.
And now we will have the closing remarks. We'll start with Audrey Clement, followed by Walter Tejada, then Mary Hynes.
Arlington citizens, it's clear that sustainable growth and smart growth are not the same. Yet my opponents conflate the two. Because Walter Tejada and Mary Hynes have diverted taxpayer funds to vanity projects, arterials like Wilson Boulevard, George Mason Drive, and Harrison Street, not to mention many of Arlington's secondary streets, need repaving. County Board's plans for a 600,000 square foot mixed-use high-rise development at East Falls Church Metro, as well as completion of the Dulles Rail Line, will attract a lot more people to East Falls Church. Yet the county has ignored complaints from East Falls Church residents that neighboring streets can't absorb the traffic. Likewise, Crystal City development is expected to increase building density by 50%, but there's no plan to increase Metro rail service. In another year, 14 of the county's 22 elementary schools will be operating at overcapacity. In 5 years, county schools will include 5,000 more students. County Board's solution: increase class size and put the excess school population in trailers. Infrastructure maintenance is needed to sustain development. Also required are programs that support moderate income households. Otherwise, those who move into the county will be stuck with a never-ending cycle of tax and rent increases as others are recycled out, which is not economically sustainable for anyone in the long run. If elected, I pledge to make developers pay their fair share of infrastructure costs. I also plan to put the brakes on vanity projects until the streets are paved and the school population is educated in buildings rather than trailers. Finally, I advocate a green jobs program to promote free residential energy audits and weatherized homes and install renewable energy systems, consolidation of housing programs into one agency that will leverage more money for affordable housing. With your help, I can preserve our neighborhoods and conserve our heritage. That's the Arlington way. Vote Clement for Arlington County Board on November 8th, and thank you very much.
I want to thank the Civic Federation for inviting us to share our views. I'm excited about where our hometown, Arlington, is headed, and proud of my accomplishments so far. While we have many challenges ahead, I am determined to continue rolling up my sleeves to further improve the quality of life for all Arlingtonians. In the next 4 years, I believe we must work together to improve and enhance our infrastructure. We must work together to improve housing options, protect our environment, preserve and enhance open space, and continue to seize opportunities for energy alternatives. At the same time, we must work together for greater inclusion of our diverse residents in our community. And while we have once again been awarded a AAA bond rating, granted to only a few successfully run local governments, and were recently named one of the top 2 best places to live in America, we must continue to work together within our tradition of responsible fiscal management. Yes, I'm committed to working together to maintain our fiscal health while also protecting the safety net for our most vulnerable neighbors. And yes, we must work together to continue setting an example for the rest of the state as a welcoming, caring, and inclusive community. I'm honored to serve you on the county board, and I will be honored to continue serving you in the next 4 years. I ask for your support and for your vote on November 8th, not just for me, but for my running mate, Mary Hynes. Working together, we can continue to ensure that our hometown is a world-class community for all of Arlington. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks again to James and to Terry and to the entire Civic Federation for hosting tonight's forum. When Walter and I spoke to you in 2007, few foresaw the economic storm just around the corner. No one expected the financial, housing, and employment challenges that converged on us. In hindsight, we can see that Arlington has come through these calamities, as well as those natural disasters we talked about earlier, in pretty good shape. Our good fortune is no accident. It is the result of involved Arlingtonians striving together for decades to build and nurture a community that is resilient, vibrant, and welcoming. When I ran in 2007, I said I would work to strengthen the county's capital improvement program, improve civic engagement, and increase government accountability and transparency. Here are a couple of examples of what's changed since that time. With support from my colleagues, I created the Capital Improvement Plan Working Group. Thanks, by the way, to Wayne, who's been helping with that. This group's study of capital maintenance funding needs will provide critical context for the next 6-year capital plan. A Crystal City Citizen Review Council has been hard at work creating the process and metrics we will use to measure progress on the Crystal City plan. And I've worked with my colleagues to add performance measures for programs we cut or changed to ensure that we can track the effects of our funding decisions. All of these efforts were opportunities for the government and citizens to work collaboratively. Each of them has strengthened the fabric of our community. In the future, as changes ebb and flow around us, I know that these local networks and relationships will be crucial to continued strategic decision-making, sustainability, and preparedness. Whether our topic is housing, transit, the environment, neighborhood edge development, or the latest natural disaster. I'm Mary Hynes. I hope you will continue to share your ideas, questions, concerns, and your work with me and my running mate Walter Tejada as we seek re-election to the County Board on November 8th. We simply can't do it without you. Thanks very much.